Hmm. So I think we've got a message saying you're live. So we will wait for a couple of minutes for people to join. And meanwhile, I will also just let people know that this is the post to follow. Just give me 1 second, okay?
Sure.
Because this will start showing up on the timeline. So give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Uh, you should be able to see the post on the timeline. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we are live. Yeah. So we have people who started watching the video. So we will get started.
Sure.
So I think people who've joined in, welcome, and of course I'll drop a message in all the groups also for anybody who's missing where the live is. So hi, today we are going to be talking to Priyanka. Priyanka is one of our thought leaders for Oh Wonderful's event, the Healthy Baking Conference that we have annually, which is OMBC Discover. We have the third edition this year, and Priyanka is going to be doing an interesting session, which we'll touch upon in the end of our conversation today. But I think what I'll do is for a lot of you who have, of course, a lot of you are already following what Priyanka does and the exciting recipes she shares with all of us. But Priyanka, I'm going to pass this on to you to just give us a quick, introduction and share a little bit about your background, yourself, anything that you want to share with the OMBC bakers who've joined today. We already see Sonal is here, so we already have bakers who are saying hi. So feel free to just share, what you want to share about yourself as an introduction.
Sure. So, hello everyone. Most of you know, or some of you might know me. I'm Priyanka. I like baking a lot. I like baking healthy things a lot. For me, the recipe has to be healthy as well as simple because these days I have, with two kids in tow, I just am looking for something that I can feed them, which is really healthy, plus which can be made ready in, quick time. So that is what matters to me. So most of my recipes, as some of you also mention it always to me, that my recipes are quite simple and easy to follow, and that's what I personally preach and follow. And about myself, I am an ex banker. I've worked with Axis Bank in the initial years of my career, but then when my elder one was born, I felt a need to quit my job to look after her. And now since then there's been no looking back. Now I'm so much involved in all this cooking and baking thing that I'm really enjoying whatever I'm doing. She is now 6 years old, and when she was born, then only basically I started making healthy things because I basically wanted to feed her few healthy snacks. Being a mother, you already cook
Absolutely.
3 meals a day. You are already
Correct.
cooking 3 meals a day. You're feeding them good main meals, home cooked good main meals. You're already giving them.
Correct.
But for me, what mattered was I wanted to did not feed them unhealthy things at the snack time. Like I did not want to
Correct.
give them chips. I did not want to give them market made biscuits. So that's what struck my chord. And since then, I have been regularly baking cookies and biscuits and crackers at my home, for especially for the snack time. And this is how the business idea also generated. For quite some time I have done a really very nice doing healthy baking business also, which is again now on hold. I won't say I've stopped doing that, it is on hold, and it'll be back very soon. There's been a lot of things happening in my life in last 2.5 years. So I thought, okay, fine, let me take a let me give my business a backseat. And in the meantime, again, I was not feeling really good doing nothing, sitting at home, and this kikida of baking and cooking interesting things is already inside my head. So I had to do something, and I found out a way to utilize my time with YouTube. I'm now making a lot of recipe videos and sharing it with you all. And I that's about me, I think. If I missed anything, Simran, please let me know. That's about me, an ex-banker turned a healthy baker come blogger come YouTuber.
That's not just a little bit, Priyanka. That's a lot of roles rolled up into one. I mean, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of, and I think, this tendency of, I think, women also to underplay the amount of work they do. and that, okay, I was doing this and then I felt that I'm doing nothing. I think we are never not doing anything. I think that is something that, especially when you have two small children, there is never a time when we are not doing anything. It's just that we are so used to doing multiple things that we think that without that, we are not accomplishing or using our time to the best of, what we can do.
Right.
But I'm glad, I think because of you having gone back to doing so many things that you love doing, we are getting a lot of good recipes. So I think it's a good time for us. So,
Even I felt when I was doing, business, there were many orders flowing in. I was not able to do new recipes. Earlier,
correct,
I used to share the on the blog as well, but when
correct.
the business was running, the blog took a back seat. But then now I'm also enjoying. I'm experimenting and sharing many different recipes. So this is also a part of me. The business is also a part of me. I love doing both the things. So maybe in coming few months, the business will also revive. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. So, Priyanka, tell me something. So, the interesting part is because I think I see that with a few bakers who are already on OMBC, is that they have made some changes in their career path, right? So, they have started, they've been trained to do, so like I always say, we are trained to do something and then we are following something else, in life, which we have trained ourselves to do. So
Right.
we maybe our education is in some area, but then we've done that for some years and then we move into something else which we have taught ourselves, right? So how has it been, so moving from being a banker, I'm sure you've worked in, in a role which was very different from
Yeah.
running your own business, and then or moving into something as creative. So moving from, say, banking, which is maybe more analytical, to moving into something which is more creative.
Hmm.
How has that been? Maybe challenges or pros and cons, learnings from the previous role to this one. Anything that you can share with
True.
the OMBC bakers.
So basically, in banking, you have a set path. So I was into operational branch banking, and there are formulas, there are keys, defined formulas to do this thing, to do that thing, how to enter a check or whatever. There are set things that you have to follow. You're taught you have to do this, and you do that only. But in banking, and especially in the entrepreneurial journey, there is, each step is different. You're learning on the go. You're doing everything. You're learning on your own. Each step you're learning on your own, and
Absolutely.
while designing recipes, you are learning a lot through using different ingredients. Every step is giving you a different thing to understand, a different thing to learn from. And there is, I mean, it is completely different, but I would say the learning from the banking job has also given me a lot of, solid background that has helped me in, taking a step further for my business, because the public dealing and dealing with different kind of vendors and all, I had that, experience a little bit about it through the
Yeah,
banking
from
years
different
only.
partners.
And
Correct.
that did help. The experience did help. But then this is completely a different ball game altogether. But then this is much more creative, gives your mind a lot, a lot of food to feed on, and you can explore a lot in this thing. And the recipes, the ingredients are endless, and the excitement never ends.
Ends.
When you're using new things, when you're developing new recipes. Yesterday itself, I baked three different things with the, so I had few tomatoes in my balcony garden growing actually, and I really
Right.
wanted to use them in a different way. I did not
Correct.
want to waste even a tiny bit of those nice tomatoes. So I thought a lot. How can I utilize the maximum juice and maximum pulp of these tomatoes? And I did three recipes with those only five tomatoes, and it came out really well. I made a tomato galette with it. I made, stuffed tomatoes with mushroom, and basically my mind was to, not waste the freshness of those tomatoes,
Correct.
and to utilize those only five tomatoes to their maximum potential. And that made me think a lot. So this is what is there in baking and blogging for you.
No,
You
but
can
it's a very
explore.
beautiful point that you've made, that there is no wastage. That is what I like. That, your see, this is what I speak about, repeatedly. And I think this is something that I'm sure that we need to speak more about. That, how you've optimally used the resources to make sure that nothing gets wasted. No part of that particular thing gets wasted. And I think that is one of the interesting things about baking. I've also noticed that there's a lot of stuff that you can actually, every part of a particular say fruit or vegetable usually, you can figure out
Mhm.
some way to use it in baking. It's not
Correct.
always true with cooking, so you may not always be able to cook something with it, but there is some use you might be able to take out for from everything for from a
True.
baking point of view.
True. True.
So you are able to at least optimally use different things. Of course, like orange seeds and all ka kuch nahi ho sakta, but
Right.
I think
The
but I think
peel
a
at
lot of
least.
peel, that's what I'm saying, like, so think about something, but in cooking you may not end up, you may end up cooking it like maybe if you're making a jam or a marmalade
Yeah.
or something like that. But I think by and large, a lot of ingredients, like you mentioned, you
Mhm.
don't end up wasting so much. You end up figuring out how to actually use it.
Correct.
Baking may use it. If nothing else, you'll probably just knead it into a bread. I mean, put it into a bread to use it up or things like that. You at least figure out some good use of a particular ingredient, right? I think that is a big difference.
Right.
So,
And it makes you
yeah,
think, it makes you do exciting things. And yesterday I was the happiest because this is what I feel doing happy with. The designing new recipes, doing new things makes you happy. So there
correct.
is no missing of the job or the career thing. There is no missing, there is no going
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Because this
And
is what.
I think, yeah, and this is I think that is what I think oftentimes people also say that this is a hobby. I think it's very important to understand that it's not a hobby. Like, it may not seem like a traditional career path, but it is a career.
Right.
So
Right.
for a lot of people who have, like, if you're running it as a business, or if you're running it as a digital content creator, right? So
Mhm.
what is a YouTuber, right? You're creating digital content which people are consuming. Okay,
Right.
how is it not a business? How is it not an enterprise? How is it not a venture? It is not a hobby, because
Hmm.
if it's a hobby, see, a hobby will probably just fulfill the one step of, okay, easing your mind or giving you some sort of relaxation, right, which is good. But the point
Mhm.
is that when it is something that you're so deeply passionate about, that's what's keeping you awake. It's telling you, you know what, I want to do this tomorrow. I want
Right.
to, in a hobby, you don't end up doing that every point in time. It's only
Mhm.
when you're so deeply passionate about running it and
Mhm.
sustaining it that you will actually be focusing on, आप नहीं सोचते, अगर सोच रहे हो, then you're thinking that, okay, कल मुझे ये recipes बनानी है, I really want to try this,
Right.
ingredient, I really want to share with people how these 5 things can be done.
Mhm.
That's not a
And if you are doing it, and then you have to be really deeply involved in it. I mean,
exactly,
uh,
exactly,
exactly, rightly you said that content creation is not, a hobby. If you're doing
correct.
it, you have to be professionally involved in it. It is also like a job, right? Correct.
Exactly.
Mm.
So that's what, so people need to stop, saying that this is not a career, this is not a job. It is a job, it is a career,
You
it
need
is
to
a,
stop.
it is your need to remain intellectually stimulated, or, physically involved in a particular
It
role.
involves a
It's
lot
very
of
important.
time,
It's
lot of effort.
exactly, it's huge
Exactly.
amount of
Same.
time, mind space. आप कितनी
Right.
creatively कितना सोचना है, what do you want to think about? There's so many of those things that come into play, na? There's so
Right.
much of
Right.
that information. So,
Mm.
so which is what I'm thinking of now, that, this is, how did you, move? So, what did you think of when you decided to become a digital creator? Like, because, of course, so which is what I see, that, very interestingly, you've moved from different roles, not moved really, but you're playing multiple roles, and you've expanded your horizon. So for people, like, so for example, for me, like, I can never become a YouTuber. Okay, I'm telling you, so I want you to be able
You're
to
already juggling with multiple huge responsibilities like
no,
convincing.
no. But I think there is a
Yeah.
special skill set people need, and there are certain qualities that they are there naturally also. Plus, you develop. So those things are very unique to a person. So what made you feel like, okay, I want to actually become, set up my channel. I want to actually put out information in this format out, to everybody, because it's very different from, again, same thing, very different from running your own, healthy
Right.
baking venture, selling to clients, speaking to clients. It's not the same thing. It's very different from that. So
Right.
how exactly did you decide to get into that space?
So actually, Simran, making videos has always been at the back of my mind. Many people used to suggest me because I'm not really flair with language, and I'm not really very good at writing. So when I used to write blog, it was there in my mind since then. In 2014, I started my blog, and then also it was in my mind, but I was not equipped properly with the information and the setup
Right.
and all. And then after blog, the business happened first, and when the business was running, I really had I really did not even had this much of time spare for doing anything extra, because
Correct.
healthy baking and healthy baking goods, if they are tasty, they are in huge demand. Trust me,
Absolutely.
anybody who is going to, who is thinking about doing this, starting this, trust me, if you're able to communicate what your product contains and why is it different from your market made things, other things, commercially sold things, then definitely your business is going to be running super smoothly.
Super smooth.
You just need to differentiate your product from the regular products, and then people will value, because people always are looking for good things, healthy things. So that is one thing. Now let me come back to your question. So when the business was running, I did not have even this much of time to
Time.
think of anything else. But then a lot of things back to back happened in my life. Actually, I lost my father, then my mother had to undergo a major surgery, and then we shifted homes. And then when I thought my home people need me more than my business at that time, so there was a huge time gap where for 4 to 6 months I was not there in Bangalore, from where I
Correct.
conduct my business. I was with my family in Delhi. So at that time, back to back things were happening, and I thought, let me take it easy, and
Correct.
business won't run away
True.
anywhere. If I have the potential, I can, any
Absolutely.
day again stand it back. So that's what I thought. I thought, okay, fine, let me, just give it a pause at this time. And then I gave birth to my second daughter, and now she's also again 1 year old, more than 18 months to be exact. So I do have spare time if I manage my responsibilities
Yeah.
timely. Then I do have spare time which I wanted to utilize creatively, because there is a thing, staying away from the family is in Delhi, there's nobody to take care of the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do
Absolutely.
not want to hand over my kids to someone whom I don't know, to a nanny or something. That doesn't
Correct.
mean I don't do anything for myself. So
Correct.
with time, with age, I have realized I need to do something for myself as well, to be
Absolutely.
happy. To be
Correct.
happy, there has to be something which I am doing for my personal growth, for my personal self. So, if I'm allowed, I would like to give this message to every OMBC mom baker, everyone who is doing it as hobby as well. If you have a career, great. If you
Yeah.
do not have, then start doing something for your personal growth. That is really very important, because there are a lot of responsibilities each one of us is juggling within our lives, but that
Correct.
doesn't mean yet you put yourself in the second place, and you do
Correct.
not, with the responsibilities, we do not need to forget ourselves, and there has to
Correct.
be a single thing, maybe anything that you do for
Correct.
your own self. So for me, as of now, it is my YouTube. My focus is on growing my channel. My focus is on growing myself as a digital content creator,
Correct.
as you rightly said. So that focus is these days keeping me happy, and that focus is making me create new things. Yeah, that is what is happening, and that's how the shift happened. And obviously the kid and the new kid in the family also needs a lot of healthy snacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is
True.
also a driving factor, because every time that jar gets finished, I know I have to prepare something new for the kids. So
Yeah.
again, being a healthy baker, we do not buy the things from market,
Correct.
obviously,
Correct.
unless it is really necessary, and you're
Correct.
not able to find any time. So as soon as the jar gets finished or is getting finished, I know I have to bake something new. So that's when my mind starts thinking of what it is going to be
Get
next.
it done. I know.
Yeah.
I know. No, I think Priyanka, I am still, I'm still absorbing the words you said because I think this is, firstly, you should not have said this thing about being allowed. You are absolutely allowed to say it. And so feel free to, speak your mind. Don't ever think that you cannot speak your mind. Okay. This is a chat between, the two of us. And I'm sure that everybody who's watching is understanding, that there is something that we want to share. A lot
Yes.
of things that both of us are doing in our lives and others are doing will be common. Okay. At the same time, I think we've also made the same mistakes, of putting ourselves, in a place where we've put our wants or our passion or
Mm.
our needs on hold. Okay. I think the important thing to remember is, which you rightly said, that there might be phases in life that, you may need to juggle multiple things, okay? But even if it's for a little while, even if it's for a small time in the day, or maybe in a week, or whatever that duration is, don't let go of what makes you really happy. And I think this is a very, very critical thing that, I think every single person on OMBC should be understanding, that personal, it has got nothing to do with uh, you know you know whether you're making money out of it or not is absolutely secondary, okay? Whether I do, I mean, like I said, you, like you also said, I'm doing multiple things, right? 90% of those things don't make money for me, okay? The 10% that makes money is my actually a job that is not related to healthy baking, okay?
Right.
So the point is that the what drives you is your
Yeah.
personal growth, okay? Your
Mhm.
personal, if you are happy, your kids are happy, okay?
Okay.
That's the biggest thing that I keep in mind, every time I, you know take on something that I feel, oh God, I'm going to get overwhelmed by this, I will never be able to do this, or, and I say that to myself, and I, irrespective of what people think that I do multiple things, the first thought when something new comes up is, should I do it or not do it? Okay, I'll never be able to do it. That's my first thought, and which is what I'm trying to control now about myself. That don't start saying I'll never be able to do it. I think changing just that narrative and saying that I might be able to do it is also a big difference. Okay, so अगर हम उतना भी बोल लेते हैं ना that I might be able to do it, I'm sure in the next 6 to 8 months I will be able to tell myself every day, if I take up something new, or every few months if I take up something new, and I consciously say this to myself that I might be able to do this. In some months I will be able to tell myself very confidently when something new comes that I will be able to do this. You know, because the mind is a very powerful tool. Okay, and I think women more than anybody else need to understand that, especially because our mind otherwise has so many things, so many responsibilities, so many roles that we are playing, that the one role that we forget to play is ourselves. you know
True.
we are never ourselves. I think that is the
Avoid
biggest
putting ourselves back.
challenge. So I think that is, and nobody can do it for us, Priyanka. Nobody can do that for us. We
That's
have to
the
do it for
most
us.
important point. I felt that, very strongly in both the phases of my life. When the
Correct.
elder one was born, then also I felt the same, and now also with the little one also, I felt the same thing, that nobody else, but it's me who has to do,
Correct.
and me who has to think of what I want to do, what can
Correct.
make me happy. So
Correct.
that is really very important point that you said.
Absolutely.
Nobody
I think that is such a huge, booster. It gives you, like I said, your family will be there to support you. Your family will tell you nice stuff and tell you, egg you on and say that, you're going to do well, don't worry, and all of that,
else.
But even then, I think till you don't tell yourself that, you will never take those steps. So I think that is very, very critical for everybody on OMBC to also understand that even if somebody tells you, it's a hobby, and I hear that so many times, especially with something like baking, that you're
Right.
pursuing a hobby, it's not something that you need to take seriously. And so many women actually end up hearing that. Okay,
Mm.
but the point is that if they tell themselves also that, yeah, this is, if they feel like that, it's all right. Okay, if they think it's a
Yes.
hobby, it's absolutely fine. Okay, but if
That's
they think differently, then they
mm.
should be telling themselves clearly, irrespective of what everybody tells me, this is what drives me, this is what makes me happy,
Exactly.
and I
Exactly.
am going to do it, and I'm going to do it with all seriousness. I think
Mm.
that is something that, will change the way they feel happy
And
also
it will
about
change
it.
the way your business is going on. If you
Exactly.
think you have to take it to some point in life, then it will
Correct.
go. It will go
Correct.
definitely, because
Correct. So that
it's all
drive
in.
comes.
Correct.
Absolutely. See, you're, like I said, so like with digital content, you have a drive to create content, and you're taking it seriously, and you're saying, what, my audience is reading this, my audience is watching this. Okay.
Mm.
I have a responsibility to my audience. Okay.
Correct.
That's how seriously I take this. And that, if I take it so seriously, it's not a hobby. I think so important to, have that kind of, thought process for
Exactly.
everybody who's there. So, I think that is a very important, thing. And Priyanka, tell me something then, because I've only seen you doing healthy baking. Okay, so this is a question as much as it is. The knowledge of this question is as much as it is for everybody as it is for me. So, did
Mhm.
you start baking healthy from the time you started baking, or did you make a transition? If you made a transition, was there a trigger, or was there a reason, why you made that transition? So share a little bit about your healthy baking, journey with us. Where it started. Of course, now we know where it's reached, but where it started, how it started.
So earlier, when I was a kid, I did used to bake a lot. I was quite interested in baking, but then I knew nothing about healthy, unhealthy. As a kid who would like pizza, Papa, get me an oven. I want to make pizzas at home. I want to make paneer tikkas at home. When I was in class ninth or seventh, I think I got my first oven after telling Papa a lot. I need it. I need it. Then we got our first oven in the house. That time it was majorly used for pizzas, chicken tikkas, and all. That time there was nothing as such in my mind about healthy baking. But then with the age, these things came to my mind when I got a full hold of my own kitchen after marriage. Then I started reading about the ingredients and thing. But then also major shift happened when I was pregnant, and I was looking for recipes, rich in iron and all. So that time the major shift happened, and the first recipe I remember what I made was a whole wheat cake with dates, which was from Tarla
Ah,
Dalal
acha,
ma'am's blog. So
correct.
that was the first healthy cake that I've ever made. And then that time I used to bake in an electric oven, and
Acha.
electric tandoor.
Electric tandoor was there, correct.
Yeah, electric tandoor was there. And then I started developing some recipes on my own, including seeds and all, because that time I had started reading about ingredients already. So
Correct.
when my daughter was born, I was sure what I want to give her. I was reading a lot about what to give a toddler as bite-sized food finger foods. So
Right.
finger foods were on my mind, and healthy finger foods were really on my mind. And then my friend Monali introduced me to OMBC, that if you're really interested in healthy baking, you should join
Correct.
this group on Facebook, and there is a lot for you. And then since then, there's been no looking back. I mean, there is immense talent on
Yeah.
OMBC, that people are sharing a lot of new ingredients every day. For
Correct.
me, my life is simple. I need a handful of healthy things, and I just need to know that the thing I'm using is healthy. And
Correct.
when I see a huge array of such healthy ingredients, I'm amazed to how should I include these things.
Include
Every
these.
day there
Correct.
is a new thing I'm seeing on OMBC, and I am such a simple person. But then OMBC keeps me, thinking, and it has to, it puts that in my mind also. Ki, Acha, this thing also can be used. This
Can be
thing
done.
also can be done.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Correct.
then that's how
Absolutely.
OMBC, has played a huge role. Because since then I've been regularly baking healthy things only. Yeah, and one more thing I would like to share is when I got my first OTG, then I made first thing that I made in it was a banana bread with whole wheat flour. So
So
yeah,
nice.
that
So
also,
nice.
yeah, that was not for the kid. I think that was for us. But then it was whole wheat flour.
Always.
The only shift then I knew was from maida to whole wheat.
To
But
whole wheat.
now,
Correct.
and a few, seeds and nuts and all. That's what
Correct.
I knew. But after joining OMBC, a huge array has got opened about sweeteners, about a lot of healthy different ingredients, and since then there's been a lot of knowledge flowing everywhere in my mind.
No, I think that's great, and I think this is the story of so many of us that, like I said, so many of us have actually made the shift because of the children, right? So, because I think, again, I think which is a testament to how moms are, that, had it been a group where, I mean, if we were to bake healthy for ourselves, we didn't do it. We didn't do it for the longest time, right?
We
We
could
did
not
it
find
when the
time.
kids came along and we said, acha, now we have to be. And so thankfully, because we started doing it for the children, we decided to do it for everybody else, including ourselves.
Right.
you know so I think it's a it's also I think the journey that so many of us have made here. So I think what you shared will resonate with everybody. It resonates with me for sure, because that's the reason why I started OMBC, frankly. And because I didn't find any place where I could get information. So this is 7 years back. In November, OMBC completes 7 years. And when my son turns 9, and I had no idea of what was happening, and where will I find all this information. And I started my experiments, and then I realized that there is no place to find this information, and there is no place to put this information out. Like, I mean, you can blog, but how many people will read a blog? 5, 10, 15, 20? And I'm not like I mean, I blog for pleasure, So for me, I write because I enjoy writing, so I blog, and
Yes.
I like sharing my recipes. So I just put it down in that particular blog. But the point is that, so how do you get to a wider audience? And that's why OMBC got started, because I said, okay, there might be parents like me who'll be struggling and hitting their heads against the wall,
And
going to
see
Google,
where you've got
finding
it. There
anything,
are
coming
more
back.
than 38,000 parents who are really keen in it.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that is where it's remarkable. I think that's why I think it
Exactly.
is something which
Exactly.
ties all of us together. Our quest for information has
This
brought us.
is one group on Facebook that everybody is coming back to look at. I mean, there are n number of groups, but I'm sure these days nobody, not many people are very
True,
interested
true.
in
Yeah.
using Facebook. But OMBC is one reason for coming back to Facebook, at
I
least.
know. And OMBC, and because of the kind of engagement OMBC has, like, so I get the stats from the Facebook and the background about insights about how many
Mhm.
people are active and how much engagement is there in terms of not the actual names of the members, but number of members who are active and
Mhm.
engaged and all of that. And now it's frightened me because there's so much engagement. I'm thinking that, what if, same thing, what if Facebook decides to shut down one day? Okay, then how am I going to get this? So obviously now, it's reaching a stage where I need to think of where we need to go from here, because it's not something that, I mean, I would personally be very unhappy if I had to, just,
I
there's
mean,
always like this
obviously, it's your
wave of
7 years of
information,
hard work. Obviously, you have given
and
so much.
and it's like, 7 years of hard work and 7 years of relationships. There are people who are people
True.
now. It's not people who are just Facebook members, people who are
Correct.
joining the group. It's not that. Like, over the last 7 years, I can't even count the number of people I have been in touch with because of OMBC. So I would have never been able to do it otherwise. So I think that is, something that, I think also, again, from a digital point of view, it is such a huge thing. So, to probably summarize, whatever we've shared so far, and, get to the fact where we started when we started our conversation, OMBC Discover. Okay, so we have a third year this year, and of course, fingers crossed it's going to go well. But
Yes.
and it's going to be online, so for everybody who's listening in, it's going to be online for this year as well, because we don't know how the situation is panning out. So, we, to keep it safe, it's going to remain online. And Priyanka is one of our thought leaders for the sessions that we're having. So, Priyanka, without giving too much information, because I want people to be able to join that session, learn from that session in the conference itself. But just for everybody's information here, just let them know the topic and why it's important to do that kind of baking.
Sure, sure. So first of all, Simran, I'm really honored that you thought I am capable of doing this, that I could be a thought leader. And it's really, I'm humbled and so honored for being a part of OMBC third edition. For the last 2 years, there was something or the other happening and I could not be a part even after, thinking so much. And, anyways, so about my topic, I would be doing a demo on healthy baking for, especially for toddlers. So I have raised one kid already. Now she is 6 years old, and the other one is 18 months old. And I'm really involved in healthy snacks for them. So most of us do 3 meals a day. Most of us eat home cooked meal, major 3 meals in the day. But then what I think is we as mothers should not neglect the snack time of the kid as well. And
Correct.
little kids, toddlers would demand snacks many times a day.
Times,
Most of us
correct.
know that. And you need to really have a few jars of those healthy goodies. Giving a snack is really easy. Having a dry thing in the cabinet is very easy that you
Yeah.
can give anytime the child clinges to you. But then giving a right nutritious and healthy thing is what is important, and most of us who have joined OMBC relate to it. And this is where my focus area is, giving nutritious snacks to the kids. So that is what I'm going to do for you in the OMBC third edition as well. So there will be a demo about a healthy snack that you can bake for your toddlers, a healthy cookie or a cracker. So you have to join and register for the conference now. It's already late to register. So if you haven't yet, then do
Yeah.
register and join us all.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Priyanka. I think that's a very valid point. I think kids, especially the small ones, like so small kids and toddlers, end up eating small meals, and I think the snack time, as you rightly said, the snack time is a time we cannot be neglecting, because it's usually the time when they will end up eating a substantial amount of whatever they like eating. So to make
Right.
it healthy, to make it nutrition packed, to make it enjoyable for them, I think there's a lot of thought process that goes in. And who better to learn it from than from a mom of a small kid and a toddler, so I think going to be toddler. So I think it's a and has raised a toddler. So I think it's a good place, and I think uh, you know and the important thing, like you rightly said, that the recipes also need to be easy to do. They need to be simple. They need to be things which, because like you are already seeing with small children, and especially very small children, it's difficult to make time where you can do exotic stuff and like tons of hours of prep, right? So I think that is where your session becomes very important, because it gives a lot of people practical insights into how to do that. So thank you so much for doing it, Priyanka, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who will love to learn from you. So we'll see you again. I'll meet you, of course, separately after this. Also, we'll have another conversation before your session. But I think for everybody else who's not registered, please register on time. And the sessions, again, like I said, the sessions are online. The recordings will be available after the sessions also for you to have a look. So don't delay your registrations. And see you then, Priyanka. And I'm really looking forward to your session. I don't have a toddler or a very small child right now, like though Noor is still little. But I think I would love to bake those same things for myself and for the kids.
Yes.
So I'm definitely going to be joining that one.
You're so generous, Simran. Thank you so much. Coming that from the master means a lot.
मास्टर तो बहुत दूर दूर तक नहीं है. I have a lot of stuff to learn अभी.
You're so
Chalo,
generous.
have a good day ahead, है ना? And have a lovely day with the rest of the weekend with your family,
Yeah.
and very good festive season ahead.
To all of you too, happy festivities. Thank you so much for having me, Simran. It was
Thank you
nice.
so much, Priyanka.
Yeah.
Take
Bye
care.
bye. You too.
Bye. Bye bye.